Welcome to Highly Sensitive, Happily Married, the podcast that teaches you to not only have an easier marriage as a sensitive woman, but to have one that feels more amazing by the day. Where you'll hear relatable stories, love advice that works, and coaching on how to have a marriage where feeling upset and disconnected is a thing of the past, and where instead a sense of loving connection and even fun and lightness is the norm. I'm Hannah Brooks, highly sensitive person, love expert, and marriage coach, and I'm so happy to be on this journey with you. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 64. I hope you're having a lovely beginning of this new year. My husband and I have been totally enjoying and having fun continuing to work on and in and deepen our amazing marriage. I'm sure I've said this before, but we totally consider our marriage an amazing marriage and find it actually totally rewarding and joyful to do the work to continue to keep it an amazing one and to deepen the amazingness in our marriage. And of course, that's what I want for you too. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is having an amazing marriage. So having a clear vision of what you want in your marriage, of course, is the first step to creating it, right? Because without knowing what we want or where we're headed, where we want to be headed, how can we ever get there? Right? That's always the first step to creating anything, is having a vision of it. And of course, I want you, and really all sensitive women who are in a partnership or who want to be in a partnership, to have what they feel is truly an amazing relationship, an amazing marriage. And I think that's what you want too. That's why you're here, right? To have a marriage that feels amazing, that feels fulfilling, that feels deeply loving, supportive, and really alive and joyful, right? But having that experience in your marriage isn't going to come or just arrive by chasing an idealized image of how a marriage should be. And what I mean by that is an image that comes really more from what society taught us it quote unquote should be, like that taught us via movies, media, magazines, and works of fiction, right? That's where so many of us have learned what a marriage is quote unquote supposed to look like, right? We haven't learned that necessarily. We haven't formed our vision actually from someone who has an actual real life amazing human marriage. And I think this is where so many of us kind of go wrong, or where we fail at being able to create an amazing marriage, because we have the wrong definition. We don't have a useful vision. So I have a vision for you and for us in our world that you, as a highly sensitive person, will surely love and will probably resonate with you a lot more than perhaps the one that you've by accident adopted because of what I was just saying, right? And really, this is a vision of us as sensitive women where we are not beholden and kind of caught up in the ways that generations past navigated marriage, right? Because in this vision, we have shed that old conditioning and really unlearned the ways that led people that came before us straight into a culture of resentment and bitterness and loneliness and disconnection in their marriages, right? How many of you have witnessed that in your own family, have experienced it in your own marriage, have seen it in your ancestors, right? Like I think about my grandparents. I know that's part of why, my father's relationships are so challenging, right? These things get passed on, right? And so in my vision, you and I, we choose to learn the path to having the most lovingly sensitive, deeply intimate, interdependent human love that's possible with our partner. Now, I want to share more about what this looks like, but first I want to say that this, of course, requires learning, but it requires unlearning too. Unlearning what doesn't work, right? Unlearning what's been passed down to us from the media, from fairy tales, from our parents and their parents and the generations that came before us. I mean, not unlearning the things that are useful for having an amazing love, right? But unlearning what doesn't work, what didn't work, what no longer serves. So where we need to start then is with revisioning, not just visioning, right? We need a re-clarifying of how we want our marriages to be, taking into account the very real humans that we are, our humanness, right? And I did talk about humanness and define it in episode 53. If you didn't listen, that's a essential one. So go have a listen. Really, but so much of our old vision, right, the one I've been talking about that we're trying to shed, didn't take into account our actual humanness, the reality of being an actual human being on this planet. This planet, not the fairy tale planet. So I have been re-envisioning this deeply over the years, and I want to share with you some of this new vision. This vision of what a real human, amazing marriage looks like. And truly, what better time than in this freshness of this new year? And to do so, and to do this a little bit differently than I have ever in any other podcast, I'm going to actually read directly from a piece of my writing, which you can find like a hard copy or digital copy of over on my blog, which is at www.lifeisworthloving.com. And then you'll just see a link for the blog. So feel free to go click on that and study that, take it in through writing, as well as listening to it here on the podcast today. And by the way, if you've been hearing rustling in the background, that is my kitten. She seems to love to hang out when I'm recording podcasts and kind of make a ruckus. So very human podcast here. Actually, we could call it very kittenness podcast. Humanness, kittenness. So here's a taste of what it really looks like to have an amazing human marriage as a sensitive person. And as you listen, I really invite you to just let the images wash over you, right? And enter into your subconscious, this new vision, right? Let this new vision kind of reprogram your mind and heart so you can naturally move towards creating this for yourself in your own marriage. All right, don't feel like you need to memorize everything I'm saying. Just kind of let it wash over you and sink in. So, having an amazing marriage is going for a walk or to a movie with your partner or alone. And either way, feeling equally held in the sureness of you and your partner's love. Just imagine into that. Having an amazing marriage is listening to your own need for connection or for alone time and having no problem asking for it or being willing to make it happen for yourself without feeling bad or guilty or any of that. An amazing marriage is strolling through town in the falling dusk with your partner, poking fun at each other and talking about how you miss the old days together. Maybe identifying some obstacles together to better connection right now. Maybe shedding a few tears and feeling closeness emerge as you do so. An amazing marriage is saying no when your partner makes a request that you don't want to do, you don't want to honor. And trusting him fully to handle his own feelings about you saying no. And trusting him fully to not lose an ounce of love for you because you said no, even if he has hard feelings about it. An amazing marriage is saying yes when doing so feels like the most loving thing for you, when you want to. An amazing marriage is asking for what you want, and when he says no, if he does, which he will sometimes, caring for yourself through the disappointment, and loving him as much as ever for knowing what he will and won't do for you. Having an amazing marriage means having squabbles over silly things like being late. It means having moments where you get defensive or you approach him critically and you briefly feel against each other. But these things never throw you off for longer than a few moments or minutes. When you have an amazing marriage, you have a resting sense of being held in love, that all is well between you and your man, your partner, that you're safe with this person and your future together is safe too. And of course, you're filled up by the moments when the daily challenges of living are faced supportively together, when the daily to-dos get done with ease and collaboration, when laughter bubbles up as you joke together. You're filled up by the micro moments of connection and affection, passion that are woven into the fabric of every day together. And you know these moments will continue and even grow more potent as you each grow in your capacity to love more clearly and more fully. An amazing marriage includes negative emotion. Yeah? It expects it. It makes room for it to come up and for it to go without ever letting it mean that there's less love here between you because of it. Breathe that one in. Having an amazing marriage means feeling disappointed and frustrated, annoyed and bothered by things your partner does sometimes. And when these feelings come up, instead of using them as evidence that there's something wrong with your marriage or as a reason to harden against your partner, as if he were kind of like the enemy, instead you let these feelings point you towards your own internal landscape with curiosity and kindness, so that you can identify the places where you have some growing to do to become more of the woman who has such deep connection and understanding with this dear person you've chosen as your life partner, and with herself, with yourself. An amazing marriage is not expecting or wanting your partner to bypass his humanity or you yours. It's actually the best opportunity to get all the things inside of you out of the way of being able to love the very humanness of both of you, of being able to love without condition this human creature that he is and this human creature that you are. It's the chance to tear down the fantasies of perfection and to cherish him as he is, not in spite of the things you don't like about him, like his reactions, his defensiveness, his aloofness, his messiness, whatever that is, but because of all of them. Did you get that one? It's the chance to cherish him because of all of the things you don't like about him. And it's the chance to do that also for your own self. It's letting yourself be imperfect, letting yourself get upset, letting yourself snap or say the wrong thing in the wrong way, wrong being in quotes, and trusting in your goodness enough to not belabor the mess ups, to not berate yourself, but to instead simply move on with a quick apology to yourself, to him, and a commitment to keep working at communicating and showing up from a more conscious place. An amazing marriage is not waiting for him to make it amazing for you. It's deciding to make it amazing yourself. It's deciding to feel amazing about your partner, about yourself, and about the relationship. And anywhere it doesn't feel like that, deciding to make it feel more like that. And yes, my friend, you have that power. This is part of what I teach people and help people do when we coach together. An amazing marriage isn't when your partner heals you of your brokenness. It's when your relationship challenges you to learn to heal your own brokenness with wildest, deepest love as the prize of that work. In an amazing marriage, you hold the most compassionate, respectful, wildly sensitive and loving space for your partner's brokenness, and trust that his brokenness isn't actually broken, that it's actually his path to wholeness, just like yours is. And you make big-hearted, pressureless space for the healing of it. You don't heal it, you make space for the healing of it in him. When you have an amazing marriage, you know the value of feeling love. You know love itself never causes hurt, only joy. And if you want hints on that, dive into episode 15, Love is the Reward. Again, an essential one. You know letting yourself feel love is a gift to yourself. You revel in this chance to have this human, this man, this partner by your side to love. You love feeling love, and so you choose it again and again. You know you have an amazing marriage when you can imagine saying, when you look back on your life together at the very end of it all, I was someone who let my love be so big that it wrapped around and permeated every imperfection, every moment of discord. It allowed for all the failures and mistakes, and it instantly melted barriers. I was someone who gave myself the very biggest gift there is to give myself and those around me. The gentle but persistent tearing down of all barriers inside of me to loving unconditionally. I was someone who stopped trying to escape my humanity and my man's humanity, and I learned to love it more full-heartedly, all the messy, inconsistent cantankerousness of it all. And because of all that, I tasted the most wild, all-encompassing kind of love possible. And I made my marriage, and truly my whole life, wildly amazing. So just let that sink in for a moment. And know that as you're holding and nurturing this re-envisioning of amazing love, and truly this is just a taste of it, didn't want to go on for days. But as you hold and nurture this vision of amazing love, you're changing the narrative, your narrative, into one that's much more realistic and conducive to real human love, to living and loving with fierce integrity. And it truly is by holding this kind of a vision, this vision, that you do make your marriage more and more amazing, that you actually are compelled to do the work to move towards it, to create it. Yeah? And as more and more of us sensitive women do this, and we start actually having these amazing marriages, we take others with us. we bring the gift of this to our families, to our partner, to our children, even to our own parents. My amazing marriage has truly shifted the way my own parents, who are way older than me, right? Generations that came before, I'm shifting their experience of love. We take others with us into this realm of having amazing love. And so what happens is others start to look to us, sensitive women, as the models to aspire to when it comes to having relationships that truly are full of sensitivity to humanness, right? That are brimming full of real human connection and joy and understanding and support, right? Where people actually come to us to ask, like, how is that done? How can I have what you have? How can I invite that real love into the heart of my relationships? And guess what? You know how to answer them because you know the way, because you live it every day in your ever better, amazing marriage. So it all starts with a revisioning and then taking steps every day, small steps, to create that vision, to make it come to life. This is what my clients do with me. This is what I continue to do every day. And if you're wanting this yourself, of course, all of my podcasts really, truly will help you create an amazing marriage in specific, tangible ways, and really in the mindset you need to do so. And the ones that I've already created will do so, and the ones that come out in the future will continue to do so. But if you know that you want this now, you want to start creating this today in the easiest, quickest, most direct way possible, without all the trial and error of doing it all alone. And you don't want to wait years or months down the road. And you want a sensitive person, tested and tried and true process that goes into much more depth than the podcast does and breaks down all the steps, all the pieces necessary into a really simple and accessible process. That's something that you can really do and start reaping the rewards, getting real results from right away. I invite you to reach out about coaching together. All of what I've just shared is the work we do, is what you will be learning to create and actually making come to life. And you truly deserve to have this amazing marriage so very much. To learn more and get started, set up your consult with me. You can email me at hannah@lifeisworthloving.com or go to my website, www.lifeisworthloving.com, and hit the work with me button, under which you will see a get started with a call button. Click that and follow the steps. And soon enough, you and I will be talking about how to make your marriage not only better, but amazing. Be oh so well.